Hola, senor.
What's going on?
Not much, man. Um, this is exciting, man. This is episode one of hopefully many of a new podcast series that we're doing called the I-70 Hot Tag.
Yes,
Um,
sir.
there was uh, there was definitely a lot of thought put into that name. We we wrestled around with it for a little bit, and um yeah, man, definitely like the name. So, and the reason behind the name is we're going to be talking about Kansas City, St. Louis, um and a little bit of Kansas, Missouri and Kansas. The I-70 runs through both of those. You and I grew up in Missouri, live in Missouri, so we'll be talking about local promotions of independent wrestling in Missouri and Kansas, hence the name. And the hot tag is pretty much just, you and I tag teaming this thing together and
Yep.
and going in for the hot tag. So got the introduction out of the way. I did want to. Were you able to share it out or?
Yeah, I shared it out from the I-70 Hot Tag Facebook page. So you guys can follow us there on Facebook for the show specifically. And then Instagram's the same at the I-70 Hot Tag. So the live stream is shared out on that page so you guys can see it live. But yeah, guys, we're excited for this because this is something that both Chase and I are pretty passionate about, independent wrestling, and it's for us to talk about our local guys, right down the road from us. Especially us being able to just travel, 20 minutes away to go to a live event, which we'll talk about later tonight. But yeah, it's going to be fun, and I think this is going to be good stuff. So, but yeah, I got it. For those of you who are watching live, it's on both CR Media and the I-70 Hot Tag. It's posted both there. So,
Okay. Did you just share it to the I-70 Hot Tag?
yes.
Okay. Cool. So, been going for 4 minutes here, so I was trying to wait to see, if we got a couple more people coming in, but the whole idea behind this is not really live stream, so to speak. This is meant to be a podcast, but like I said, just wanted to see if we got a couple more people in.
Yep.
And make sure that the stream is working.
Correct.
So that's always
right. All right. So,
all right, man. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump in here and kind of see where we're at with this. So kind of walk me through this day, man.
It's been pretty exciting. Like I said, this event we're going to talk about, it was a fun event. It was billed as DWF No Turning Back, and it was held at the Camelot Ballroom in Overland Park, Kansas, and that's a venue that neither one of us have been to yet, right?
Yeah. No, and it's funny you mentioned that because the Camelot Ballroom, when you drive up to it, man, it doesn't look that big. But inside it looks a lot bigger. And it was crazy. I saw people standing outside and I was like, like I said, walking up to it, I was like, man, is there even going to be a wrestling ring in this thing? And like I said, when we got in, I was really shocked about the size of it. So nice, low ceilings, Definitely gave off that classic independent wrestling feel. With the low ceilings, especially with the chandeliers.
Yeah, that was the first thing. My I took a picture and did a little pan around the venue with the ring, and the first thing, everybody replied with was, "Tell me when they hit the chandeliers."
Yeah. And it's funny, it was Dak Draper. When Dak came out, he had his jacket on. We took his jacket off and threw it behind him. He actually clipped the chandelier with it.
Yeah.
And I thought that was funny. But yeah, man, it's a great venue. And just to kind of tail back a little bit, man. This, like I said, this show is going to focus on Missouri and Kansas professional wrestling, the independent scene, and what it brings. And we're going to try and cover, CSW now, which was DWF, DWF into CSW, Journey Pro, and anything else we can get our hands on. Get in there. So super excited about it. And like I said, the idea of this is just to share, our ideas and our passion for professional wrestling. Because I know I can speak for Josh when I say that, it's just, as we get older, we thought this was something we would grow out of, and
Never happened.
it hasn't happened yet. So
Nope.
so Michael Strider started out the event. He came out and announced that Jeremy Wyatt wouldn't be in attendance. He had an emergency, and then he announced that Gil Rogers was injured. So, and for those that don't know Michael Strider is a former NWA Central States champion. And then he made the announcement that moving forward, DWF would be known as Central States Wrestling. And Central States Wrestling has a little bit of a history. Are you familiar with the history of Central States Wrestling, Josh?
A little bit. I know that there was a lot of good independent wrestlers that's come from CSW in the history. When it was originally formed back in 2003, I think it was. Jeremy Wyatt was a guy who was there. Michael Strider, obviously. And you've got Ace Steel, the Chicago native. He was there. And also there was a guy, I believe it was Derek Stone, who actually wrestles now. At least I don't know if it's primarily, but I know I've seen him show up in WLW, which is World League Wrestling Harley Race's promotion over in Troy, Missouri. So to see those guys and see that history come back in Kansas City, it's awesome to see. I know DWF was fairly new, only been around. I'm not sure exactly how long DWF was around before they switched to CSW, but it's nice. It's cool to kind of do a callback to such a historic promotion, because not only did those wrestlers compete in CSW, you had guys like AJ Styles, who wrestled there. Seth Rollins, Christopher Daniels, and even I think Colt Cabana wrestled here a few times for CSW as well. So there's a lot of history with CSW.
So Joseph McDonald, appreciate you chiming in, man. There is a link to CSW Wrestling. Their about page. You can find out all the facts you need to know about CSW. And Michael Strider and the company that they run. And appreciate you tuning in with us, Joseph. Also, that is CSW's website as well. Make sure you save that to your favorites and check them out.
And for those of you who are listening and not watching, it is cswwrestling.com.
Absolutely. Thank you. Appreciate you tuning in, James. James is my co-host, or I'm James's co-host for James Howe's Chiefs Talk. So appreciate you coming through. Appreciate Donnie coming through as well. So we, we get the announcement from Strider about the event, and about the name change, and we start the event off with a gentleman who Josh is very familiar with.
Yeah, you talk about Dallas Cade, right?
Yep.
Yep,
Yeah.
Dallas Cade was the opener. He actually he opened the match, or opened the event. I'm sorry, and yeah, he wrestled the opening match. It wasn't a very long match, but it was nice to see him live again. I saw him a few times in Journey Pro. So yeah, Dallas Cade, great guy, great wrestler. It was good to see him in the ring.
Yeah. You during intermission, you went up to talk to Dallas, and how did you know Dallas? I mean, besides Journey Pro.
He actually was on a podcast with a couple buddies that not really buddies, I guess. I listened to a local Kansas City podcast that was named I can't remember the exact name of the podcast, but one of the co-hosts was named Kevin WK, and I'm friends with him on Facebook. And it was Divas, Drop Kicks, and Dives. That's what it was. And he and Michael kind of veered off into a different podcast after that, and actually brought Dallas Cade on as a permanent host. And they did about 6 months worth of podcast, and had a lot of good stuff, had a lot of good content, and I enjoyed listening to them. And then they kind of just disappeared. I didn't see anything from them for a little bit. So my first question to him was what was going on. But yeah, from what I heard of him and what I've seen him in the ring, I mean, Dallas Cade, I mean, great guy for sure.
Yeah. He had a good match with I don't remember the gentleman's name now. I do remember what I do remember is that he had Darth Maul on the tights.
And he had a pretty sweet stash too.
He did, man. He had a stash that resembled a 1970s police officer.
For sure.
So after Dallas's match, did they have one more match before the show actually? Like, because Dallas was the pre-match, right?
Right. Yep. No, that was the only pre-match, and then they went. They took about a 10-minute break, and then they started the show at 7.
Gotcha. So what was this? What was this like? Watching, because how long has it been since you've gone to local promotion?
It's before the pandemic.
Okay.
I have not been to the last local show that I went to was Journey Pro, and I believe it was the title of that event was Die Hard is a Christmas Movie, and it was held. It was held in December of 2019, so it was a few months before the pandemic started. And that was the last one I went live. And we're going to talk about how great the main event was, and that was probably one of the best matches I've ever seen live. But that event in 2019 was, I'm going to say, was one of the best matches I've ever seen live as well. The main event was for the Gateway Heritage Championship. Jeremy Wyatt defended against Gary J. And Gary J has the moniker of the stiff Robo Ginger, and they put on a 1-hour time limit draw match, and phenomenal. Both men were just poured their hearts out into that match, and I didn't know what was happening. I knew the match went long, and then when that bell rang and they called it a draw, I walked out of that like, yes, we didn't get a winner, but man, what a great match.
Awesome. Got some feedback. my friend James is not in agreement with Journey Pro about Die Hard being a Christmas movie. So, okay, so we get started. We've got the we've got the transition from DWF into CSW. We've got one match in. We get the event started. What match or like what stood out to you the most?
So I'll tell a little bit of the story. But when we went to this event, it wasn't just you and I.
Yep,
We
that is
took
correct.
a buddy. His name's Chris, who is not a wrestling fan at all.
At all.
No. I mean, he knows what WWE is. No idea what AEW is.
Yeah.
And so he's been to one other event with us before. But I want to say to you I believe this was the first match, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when Luigi Primo came out twirling the dough of pizza, our buddy Chris absolutely lost it.
Yeah, fucking lost it.
Yeah.
And I lost it as well. I was not familiar with Luigi, the best pizza maker in all of the land. So I absolutely positively loved everything about it, and Kook did as well.
Yes.
Chris was having a ball with it. He was laughing so hard he couldn't breathe. And we've got front row seats right in front of the ring, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
He had a one-on-one match with gosh, I'm drawing blanks tonight. Of course, I would the Aristocrat.
Yeah.
And the Aristocrat had the manager who was in NWL as well.
Yep.
And I am drawing a blank on his name. But that guy couldn't keep his pants up. He kept walking around the ring in his white stained shirt.
Yep.
Wearing that goofy ass cowboy hat. And he couldn't, like I said, he couldn't keep his pants up. I was like, well, at least I'm not the only one. So.
Right.
But Luigi Primo killed it, man. Came out with the dough. He still had the dough. There was at one point in the match where the Aristocrat had him in a leg lock, and he's on the ground, like acting like he's in excruciating pain, and still spinning the dough.
Yeah.
And,
the man knows how to stay in character for sure.
Yeah. And like big shout out to Michael. I don't know if I know Michael's the promoter. I don't know if Michael put the show together, but I just thought that was a great great contrast how they decided to start out the event with an uplifting thing, because you heard a little bit in the crowd when people were like when they found out that Jeremy White wasn't going to be there, and then Gil was injured. Gil is a huge draw in Kansas City, in Kansas City wrestling. So, you kind of heard it in the crowd when they made those announcements. And then to start off, let Dallas come out, get some time and have a match, go out, and then officially start the event, bring out Luigi Primo and put him up against the Aristocrat. And they just killed it to start off with. Yeah. So, and I immediately fell in love with Luigi. I was like, I don't know who this is, but I'm gonna go talk to him. And I follow a lot of like independent promotions. I have not been to live as many as we would go to NXT Black and Gold when it was small, and I loved that. And then the NWL events that we went to, I loved. But and this was probably one of my favorite, if not favorite, event we've been to. You know, like I said, I keep up with independent wrestling online. It's just a different monster when you're there. And I can, or, you know, we're going to show some pictures and some videos. And this will kind of, you know, attest to what I was going to say, but I love getting involved. You know, because I love being a part of the show. And that is what is so awesome about independent wrestling is, you know, it don't matter how big that building is. You know, those guys interact with the fans. They, you know, they get the fans involved. You know, I had a heated exchange with Matt Finch. Um, um, I had another heated exchange with he changed his name from NWL. Um, Moonshine. I
Oh,
had a
Moonshine
heated
Mantel. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a heated exchange with Moonshine and his manager, and it's fun. Like, I'll do it on purpose because it's just fun to get involved with those guys, and it's fun, and it makes it extremely fun because, like, not only do they get involved back, but it helps them. You know, it helps them when the fans are interacting with them, you know, to help them get over. And it was just, you know, it was tons of fun. So uh
Yeah, and I want to point out, you know, we're talking about, you know, these guys, you know, obviously play that character, and kind of going back to, you know, maybe going to the merch table and seeing these guys and being able to interact with them. You know, Luigi Primo was phenomenal, great guy. He, you know, stayed in character 99% of the time you were at that table, and you couldn't tell. You know, even when we asked him what his Twitter handle was, he told us the best pizza chef, and we had to sit there and wonder if that really was
yeah,
it, or if he was just, you know,
I,
messing with us.
yeah, no, I'm pretty sure it's the best pizza maker.
Best pizza maker. I'm sorry. Yeah. So that
Yep.
it is correct. That is right. You know, and then they had Dak Draper. They had Matt Fitchett up there. The Howlets we'll talk about in a little bit. But, you know, and it's funny that you say, you know, when we talk about the merch table, you know, that's the first thing I always walk up to at any wrestling event that I go to is go check out what T-shirts, memorabilia they've got. And I saw the DWF T-shirt sitting there, and, you know, for me, I almost went up and bought one. And I said, you know, because I got a Journey Pro shirt, I've got a, you know, I got an NWL shirt, so I was going to buy a DWF shirt. Then I start, you know, I was like, I'll just wait till later. And then when they made that announcement that CSW is coming, you know, the next event we go to, they're going to have CSW shirts. Definitely going to pick one of them up and support them for sure. So, but yeah, these guys, you know, from Dallas Cade all the way to, you know, the Dak Draper, who was in ROH, he was there at the merch table too. I mean, they're, you know, great guys. Don't feel intimidated. You know, if you want to go up and talk to them, they are, you know, fantastic to interact with. So
Yeah, you know, like I said, you know, was getting involved with it. You know, every single time we go to an independent wrestling show, or a small wrestling show, I try to get involved as much as I can. Yeah.
yeah.
So, I remember in NWL, I got called, I told Jeremy White he sucks, and he was like, "Your mom sucks, fat boy." And, you know, it's just, you know, great stuff like that, you know.
Yep.
And that was the thing with Moonshine is when Moonshine came out, I told his manager, I was like, "You guys sucked in NWL and you suck now." And then Moonshine was like, "Who said that?" And I was like, "Me." And he's like, "Get your fat ass up here and say that to my face." So,
That's great.
and Matt Finch, I was telling, Matt walked by, and, you know, he was kind of talking to us, and I was like, "You suck," and he was like, "Is that why you paid a ticket to see me?" And I was like, "No, I paid a ticket to see Jeremy Wyatt."
Right. You know, and it does suck, man, because I was wearing my Jeremy Wyatt shirt. You know, he is, you know, I was going to talk about him a little bit later, but he is, you know, if you ask me who my favorite local independent wrestler is, it's hands down Jeremy Wyatt. and I was excited to see him. I hope everything's fine. I know he had an emergency to attend to. Couldn't compete, but hopefully next time we go, whether it be either Journey or with CSW, we'll get to see him wrestle. But yeah, I mean, he's one of a kind for sure. The Monarch, Jimmy Wyatt, yeah.
So, kind of, just kind of, bringing this whole thing out. I've kind of talked about my experience. My thing that I want to bring up is who that hasn't or that is not in DWF or CSW now. Do you want to see kind of make the transition into CSW? So whether it be from Journey, because I know a lot of these guys mix. They go where the work is, of course. Right. Yep. So now that we're getting into we're getting into a season where where wrestling is just really hot right now. Who would you want to see come in from maybe outer, not really saying big promotions, but who do you want to see from maybe other independent wrestling promotions across the country jump in with CSW?
So I'll tell you this right now, and I don't know where they're at right now. I don't know what part of the country they're wrestling in at this point, but there's a tag team that leaves me in awe every time that I watch them. And they were called the Royal Bloods in NWL, and then when NWL
the Regal Twins.
They were the Regal Twins. And I don't know if and again, this is my first live DWF event, CSW event. So I don't know if they've wrestled there before. But the Regal Twins, whether it be in singles or as a team, they were phenomenal as a tag team. I would love to see the Regal Twins in CSW and back in Kansas City wrestling or Missouri wrestling in general, because they are absolutely amazing.
So the twins are actually they're actually originally from Lee Summit, aren't they?
I think so. Yeah, they're local for sure.
Yep. I would probably say that now that Warhorse has gotten a big following. Obviously he's not exclusive to Missouri, so to speak, or exclusive to Journey Pro. But man, with his popularity and stuff, and kind of not contradicting what I was saying, but definitely would emphasize, hey, I love the local independent wrestling scene, but I also want to see these guys succeed and see, where we go, how far they can go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would love to see Warhorse bring his popularity into CSW. I think it would be fantastic for them, and it would definitely work out for both ends. So we got some pictures and some videos. Do you want to talk about the main event first, or do we want to go through pictures and videos?
Either way, I mean, let's show some pictures. We've been talking a lot. Let's show kind of our experience of this event. This is the Camelot Ballroom, Overland Park, Kansas. And yeah, take it away. Share your screen.
Yeah. So, okay, let's. Come on. We had to work on a better segue for that, man, because I didn't know it was gonna take the photo album this long to pull up. Damn it!
Right.
All right. So let's go here. Oh, there. Boom. There it is. Right there. So that is the Camelot Ballroom in Overland Park, Kansas. As you can see, fairly low ceilings. Got those chandeliers hanging down. Ring was positioned perfectly to where definitely nobody would
No,
get injured or hurt their head. So
I want to say that
um,
was if that picture before. I mean that is an absolute beautiful wrestling environment. When you walked in there, I mean, it was like, it was almost an awe. Like you said at the beginning of the show, how we thought that the venue looked small from the outside. When you walk in there, it's a lot bigger than you think, and the ambiance of that
yeah, like
setting
I said,
is
like I said,
phenomenal.
like I said, man, the old, those old, not old, but it just definitely spit independent wrestling.
Yep.
When you walked in, you got that feel. So, um, yeah, man, we were right there, front row. We actually were sitting right next to the to one of the sponsors, and the sponsor was the Warrior gym,
Yep.
and I'm probably butchering that. Here, let's zoom in. It was Warrior Academy KC.
Yep.
There you go, Warrior Academy KC, who is a sponsor of CSW. We were right next to those guys. Super nice, because for those that don't know, I'm a big feller. So and the chairs are a little close. So I was rubbing elbows. I was rubbing elbows a little
We
bit.
were on top of each other just a little bit, but
That's what she said.
there's your boy Dallas Cade right there.
Agreed.
So follow, give him a follow, Dallas Cade on all the social medias, and it's Cade Cayde.
There's my boy Luigi Primo, and the aristocrat and his manager. This is Matt Finch and Camaro Jackson.
Camaro Jackson against Matt Fitchett. Yep.
Yeah, Matt Fitchett.
Yeah. And there's our
main
event we
event.
still yet to talk about.
Well, so we'll stop sharing here, and we'll kind of go back to that main event. So, it was a no holds barred street fight, between the Howlets and the Premier,
In the premiere. Yep.
which is SK Bishop and Campbell Myers. And dude, let me tell you, I was not expecting what we got.
100%.
They and not to take away from any of the guys that wrestled before them. Like I said, there was some great matches, and a lot of interaction. A lot of good athleticism. But man, this is this every once in a while. And if anybody listening or anybody watching, Josh and I are a little bit nerdy when it comes to this professional wrestling thing, and I mean I'm in this thing 7 days a week, man. My wife has just kind of accepted the fact that this is my niche. This is what I love to do. This is what I love to talk about. And, so the athleticism in the sport of professional wrestling, I absolutely love. But every once in a while, I like watching guys get down and dirty and beat the dog shit out of each other. And that's what this was. This
Yep.
was 4 guys just beating the absolute shit out of each other. And I've got videos, and we'll show those. But I mean, this was a bloodbath, dude.
Yeah, right. It
and,
was.
and Anaya. Actually, I actually got Anaya's blood on me from the
Yeah,
Howlets.
you did.
I was messing with him like when he was down by us. I was like, tag me in. I was like, tag me in, Oos. I'll get him for you. Tag me in. I'll beat their ass for you. And then like he went and grabbed my hand, and then I was like, I looked down and I've got blood all over me. I'm like, oh, what the?
Right.
So, you know, like I said, I love watching, just watching the athleticism of professional wrestling, but this was a great breath of fresh air to watch them just kind of.
You know, I was just gonna kind of topple on top of that. I didn't mean to interrupt you or anything.
No, you're fine. You're fine. Go ahead.
But how I talked about a little bit earlier, how I thought my best, one of my favorite matches, especially from a local standpoint, was Jeremy Wyatt against Gary J. But that was a hard hitting match, but it was not a hardcore match. It was not a street fight. It was not had no weapons. It was just a technical masterpiece. But after I walked out, when that match ended, the Howlets against the Premier, I looked at you. I'm sure you remember that we were in awe of what we just watched. And I think the cool thing was that, they toppled over at one point, they toppled over the railing and they wrestled out into the crowd and they were right next to us. At one point, I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Campbell or Bishop that, I wasn't even paying attention to what was going on behind me because they had gone back into the ring and I'm trying to watch what's going on. And one of the Premier guys shoved me, he goes, get out of the way. And we're on the corner of the front, of the railing.
Yeah.
And, he shoves me out of the way so he could jump up and do an aerial move to, one of the Howlets. But to be like that close and, see everything that's going on and, how they get the crowd interacted. Well, it was by far, one of the greatest matches I've ever seen live. And I don't know, I'm sure you agree.
Absolutely. I mean, we've, like I said, we've gone to, we've gone to NXT, we've gone to some good AEW shows, and we've gone to some NWL shows. As far as live and this was one of my favorite shows, and definitely that last match between the Howlets and the Premier was definitely one of my favorite matches I've seen live. So, it doesn't take, like I said, I love professional wrestling so much. It doesn't take much to wow me, when I'm in the live crowd and being front row like that and being, being in the midst of it all, the how, and I grabbing my hand, you getting pushed out of the way, like us being like right there while they're throwing trash cans at each other and suplexing each other on the concrete and, all that stuff. I mean, like I said, it didn't take much to get me excited about professional wrestling. So that was definitely the highlight of our night. We were definitely feeling a good high after that.
We walked out for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So kind of, like I said, I didn't want to show too much because of the, because we hadn't talked about the main event. But here, let's get.
Yeah, we're gonna show some pictures. We got a lot of video. If you guys get a chance, if you follow me on the Real Josh Elliott on TikTok, also the Instagram, the I-70 hot tag, I posted a kind of compilation video of our experiences there from the the start of it to the end, which ended with a lot of you see some of the brutal spots that happen in that match. One of the ones we have not spoken about, and I'm sure we're going to see some pictures here. For those of you who are listening as a podcast, you're not going to see the pictures, but at one point, Hoodie pulls out a bucket of thumbtacks, and we've seen this many times on TV, WWE, AEW. Never have I seen it in person, at least never that close. And when he dumped them on, again, I don't know if it was Campbell or if it was SK Bishop, But when he dumped them on his head, and then it ended up getting a little bit later getting reversed, and he gets suplexed into the two tables, also on top of the thumbtacks. That caused the crowd to immediately erupt into a holy shit chant.
Yeah. And I've got videos of that. There's the picture of the blood on part of the blood on my hand. I kind of like wiped it off on my shirt. I took a picture. I took a picture of it to send to my wife because my wife was like, "What? Why do you have blood on you?" So here was the setup. They had the two chairs put together. He had already dumped the tax on them. I think there was a plan to superplex him off of the top rope onto those two chairs with the thumbtacks, and it didn't work out that way. This was a little bit of the aftermath. The Premier went AWOL and just beat the dog shit out of the Howlets. So the Premier, which is funny. We know the Howlets have been, we know the Howlets have been, in Kansas City professional wrestling for a while. In Missouri, they've been to St. Louis, they've been to Kansas City. We've seen the Howlets when we went to NWL. Huge fan of the Howlets. They're probably, I'm probably my favorite wrestlers in Kansas City, just because of their longevity. They're just two bad dudes that just love to play Smash Mouth and want to just beat the shit out of people, and I love it. Huge fan of the Howlets.
Yeah,
but they've
agree. Yeah,
they have been around for a while.
Yep.
So a young team, like, I'll be honest with you, man. When the match very first started, I thought Campbell and his partner were going to get just get the shit kicked out of them. And
they won.
Yeah, there's no. Yeah, I mean, we're two grown ass men talking about wrestling. I'm not breaking kayfabe here, but for the Howlets to give the Premier the rub, and let them, and give them that moment to shine. Whether that was the promoter's call, whatever. I mean, we know how politics work, in wrestling. So, the Howlets doing that for them, and them getting the final. I mean, dude, they drew a lot of heat at the end of that match. I mean, that whole crowd was, with the exception of a few fans that were cheering on the Premier, but I mean, there was a lot of people that were giving the Premier a lot of heat. So, and I thought it was a good showing for those two young guys. Yep. So, funny, and we've got some videos to show, and I'll show some videos. The videos are probably the climax because I got that spot with the thumbtacks, which is just absolutely nuts. I don't even know if do you think if I showed it, it'll get flagged for violence or whatever?
It probably would, honestly.
Well,
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. But one of the kind of just
we'll post those videos before we'll post those videos on all of our social media so you guys can go out there and kind of see what we're talking about.
Yeah. I don't think it'll get flagged. At least the one of him getting, I'll show the one of him getting suplexed. There's not a whole bunch of blood in that one, but you go out after the match, and the crowd was just buzzing. There was a lot of people around us. That was kind of like just the atmosphere of it. Was just everybody was just like in awe and couldn't believe, the show that those last four guys put on. So, I had a lot of fun with it. So,
100%, man. That match was fantastic. Kind of to piggyback off what you said about, the Howlets being kind of in Kansas City. You can look up any one of their matches, whether it be a tag team or singles. Hoodie Howlett, Anaya Howlett, they are phenomenal singles wrestlers as well as tag team. But also, I'm not sure where they were called this, but they're called the Howlets in the Kansas City area. But I know that their tag team name was called the West Coast Gorillas, outside of the Kansas City area, whether that be St. Louis, not sure, or, in other states. But West Coast Gorillas is kind of their moniker, outside of the Kansas City, Missouri area. So if you've never seen them before, if you're kind of watching from a different state or, never been to a live event, the Howlets are top-notch tag team, top talent in the independent scene.
Yeah.
And I'm not taking anything away from the premiere, because the premiere were just as good. And that was the first time I'd ever seen them in person. And they tore the house down. And I'm excited to see them again. And I don't know where we're going to see them again, whether it be in here in this promotion, or if it's going to be in Journey or Central States, wherever. I'm excited to see them again when we do see them.
So after the opening match with Dallas, and you and I went to go say what's up to Dallas during intermission. Dallas was talking about Campbell, and he talked about he has like a shirt about like Campbell soup and stuff like that. So definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Well, let me see here, bud.
So are you going to show some video or something?
I
Okay,
am.
so before you start this, this might be a good time to bring up. So I kind of been chatting a little bit. I've been looking off screen. You guys are probably have noticed. So one of the first commenters of this podcast, Joseph McDonald, is actually an owner of CSW.
Really?
He's interested in coming on the show to promote it. He said he and Michael Strider both would like to eventually, not sure if it's going to be next week or whenever, we'll work with him to come on, promote CSW, and promote local independent wrestling. So
yeah,
Joseph,
hell yeah, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, and I appreciate your interest in this, and hopefully you're enjoying it, and we're doing you justice and giving you some good feedback. But
yeah, so
on.
the big thing is we wanted to make sure we got this done this week, to kind of start off. So and I'm so shit-faced busy. Josh and I both are married. We both have 3 kids. Josh has 3 babies.
Yeah.
He's got two twin toddlers, brand new infant. So we, like I said, we wanted to get this event under our belt and just kind of get this started and go forward. So we definitely will be reaching out. Would love to have you on. Love to promote the show. Love to get the name out there, because like I said, the event you guys put on was absolutely amazing. Definitely had fun. Like I said, Josh and I have been to a bunch of wrestling events together, and definitely this is probably in my top 5 of one of my favorite independent wrestling events that I've been to. So
Yeah.
I dude, you caught me with the when you told me you were talking to Joseph McDonald and
Sorry,
so
got you off topic. So
it did. I was like, oh wait, those guys were on here.
Yep.
So
right. Yeah.
So let me get this here.
So hopefully the audio is going to translate well to this.
Well, we'll also be on YouTube as well. So
yep.
Okay. So this, and let me get back to the stream, and I'm gonna move you and me off. Here.
Translate through there. So
yeah. So sorry about that. I took you and I off so I could enlarge that. That was just a small video. Like I said, we'll post more on the social medias as the time comes. You know, I'd like to get into Adobe Premiere Pro and kind of put together a compilation of all of our videos. So after the event, you know, we were able to kind of go through, you know, I had run into Matt Fitchett, you know, and Matt was like, hey man, I appreciate you. And I was like, no, thank you. I was glad to have an interaction with you. You know, it helps, it helps you build that character of being a heel. And that's what I love about independent wrestling is, you know, we're a part of the show. And got a signed picture with Matt, or not with Matt, but got a signed picture of Matt to kind of help those guys out, you know.
Yeah, I'm telling you, Matt Fitchett. You know, we talked about, you know, the Regal twins earlier, but Matt Fitchett is one half of another great tag team with Davey Vega in the Besties in the World. So I know they're working as singles now, but there he is. If you guys are watching live, signed copy, Chase got, but Matt Fitchett, you know, his interaction with you ringside. I'll post that on all of our socials as well. That was, you know, one of the funniest things I've seen. You and him kind of getting into it as he's coming to the ring for his match.
Yeah. And like I said, as soon as him and I made eye contact, you know, he was super, you know, receptive. You know, like as soon as we made eye contact, he was like, "Hey, man, thanks," and I was like, "No, thank you." Right. And so I couldn't pass up an opportunity to get the picture. And then afterwards, I passed by Anaya with the Howlets, and you know, his partner was extremely bloody, so he was not out in the crowd interacting. You know, he was in the back, you know, getting cleaned up. But you know, I told Anaya that I was like, you know, hey, I'll definitely take a picture. And he signed it for me. I bought a T-shirt as well. I've actually still got the T-shirt folded up with the I've got the T-shirt folded up with the rubber bands. I haven't even opened it yet. You know, Josh, and what was, you know, kind of just to piggyback off of, you know, how awesome and how down to earth these guys are. You know, we walked up to Dak Draper, and you hit Dak Draper up like you and Dak were like old high school buddies. You were like, you know, you walked up to him and you were like, "How you been, man?" And he was like, "Oh, I'm great." And you know,
that was not. Yeah, it wasn't the first time I'd met Dak. You know, he's, you know, being with these independent shows, we've seen him before, and you know, it was really cool to see him wrestle in ROH with. He did a lot of stuff with Dalton Castle, which, I mean, I know AEW is kind of a bigger thing. They did announce Dalton Castle for an AEW show, but it was just cool to see Dak, you know, being from a local, you know, independent promotion, like, you know, in the Kansas City area, you know, get that kind of a spotlight. You know, we've seen people do that in the past where, you know, there was a lot of matches. We didn't see him in CSW, but there was a guy named Christian Rose, who I'm sure we'll see him at some point. He's wrestling in Journey in a couple weeks, but he wrestled a string of matches with someone you guys may be familiar with named Shotzi Blackheart, who is now in WWE, and they put on phenomenal matches in the Kansas City area. So, you know, it's just cool to see, you know, you see them up close, you know, 3 or 4 rows, maybe front row, and then them turn around and, you know, continue their career in a much bigger platform and see the success that they do. So, these local promotions, it's not just about us being fans. It's about, these guys are putting on great shows for us, and then continuing the success to, a bigger crowd in the AEW or WWE. So
yeah, it's like with the Hallis, and I after I was bleeding. Like I said, I got his blood on me,
yeah.
And after the match, he's out with a towel on his head and he's signing pictures.
Yeah.
So I mean that's that's awesome.
Yep.
Like I said, it's definitely having fun with professional wrestling, and definitely having even more fun with independent wrestling. What do we have on the lineup here, Mr. Elliott?
I mean, that pretty much covers it, man. Like, I mean, we're here. We're going to be here every Thursday, roughly about the same time, 8:30 p.m. Central Time. Got to do a little bit later, as Chase said earlier. We both have kids. More so me. I got to get the kids down to bed before I can come down and record this.
Yeah, my kids are a little older, so they're a little
probably
more
still awake.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I gotta get my kids down to bed, and usually that's about 8:00. So we come down, prep a little bit, and then do this recording. So again, we're gonna, we started the show. We're gonna promote all the local wrestling from Kansas and Missouri. We're gonna go Central States Wrestling. Phenomenal job, great show you guys put on. I can't wait to get to a show again. We're gonna go to, we're gonna cover Journey Pro. Hopefully we'll dabble a little bit into some St. Louis Anarchy. I don't know if we'll ever get to an event. Probably at some point we will. But we want to dabble into that as well. And I posted a few videos earlier today. We might go into talking a little bit about WLW, World League Wrestling, Harley Races Academy. And there's more. There's a few more in Kansas and Missouri as well that we could kind of look into as well. So
yeah, absolutely.
So yeah,
just a couple of nerds talking about something we're passionate about, and hopefully giving a good rub to those guys who deserve it. So
absolutely.
Like I said, this is episode 1. In all of its glory. This is the I-70 hot tag. Like I said, can't wait to journey into more episodes with you guys. Definitely look forward to seeing who we can get on here and kind of share more about Kansas and Missouri wrestling. So
Chase, before we get off here, do you want to promote all your social medias? Where can they find you at?
Yeah, man, it's gonna be right here next to my name. It's gonna be that at CR Media 1988. Like I've said on our post Dynamite show that we do right now, it is CR Media 1988 because I have not purchased the rights to CR Media, but when I do, you will know. So
1998 will be knocked off there.
Yeah.
Same for me, guys. The real Josh Elliott. That's my Twitter handle. My Twitter handle and my TikTok. And then we just today created the I-70 hot tag on both Instagram and Facebook. So these shows will be live streamed on Facebook under the I-70 hot tag and CR Media both. So you guys can follow both to get these to get the live stream. So I do appreciate everybody, James Howe, James, Joseph McDonald, everybody who chimed in on the chat. It was good stuff, and we can't wait to keep this going, and we'll see you guys probably next Thursday.
Adios, muchachos.
See you guys
later.